Locked on target.
Hi, crew, and today on Guild Wars 2, we are going to be talking about the engineer. Yeah, that's my certain engineer. She's just waving high here. So, I decided to split up my videos into separate parts, and that's because with Heart of Thorns expansion coming so soon, let's just say that according to the Ready Up videos that I've been watching, the long 3-hour one that's like episode 32 or something, everything in the game, trait and skill wise, is going to be changing drastically except weapon skills. And I just want to give you guys, even the level up process is going to be changing. So me making this guide I'm just going to be giving general tips for engineer and things that aren't going to change, as well as leveling and whatnot. And for this one, I'm just going to go through a little bit of skills and basically weapon skills for the engineer. So my preferred, not while leveling, which is probably why you guys are watching this, is while leveling, is pistol or pistol shield. I'm one of the rare engineers that likes playing double pistols or pistol shield over rifle. And I'll tell you why. I'm never in this, okay? So with rifle, there's just quite a few skills that are mobility based and whatnot, but if I'm playing engineer, I'm in one of my kits. Whether that be flamethrower or elixer gun, I'm always in a kit. So for that to be like, oh, well, I'm going to, these skills aren't really all that important to me. And, these are actually some pretty useful skills, okay? Between the three I have here, the three skills I still have with just a single pistol, I have bleed, which is an explode bleed, mind you. So it does it in an area. Poison, which stacks for about 8-9 seconds of poison. And then confusion that bounces between enemies. And the reason why I want to show off shield here is shield offers a skill that it not only gives you reflect for 4 seconds, and I'll show you as soon as I get done explaining this what this skill does. It gives you a reflect for 3 seconds, which makes playing engineer in high level fractals a little bit easier to do, okay? Because this is, to my knowledge, the only reflect an engineer has, okay? Is this ability right here. And it is a big help for certain fractals to have a reflect on your character, and that alone makes it useful. Plus, yeah, this is a blast finisher. Okay, so if you press it a second time, you'll actually knock enemies back. But what's more important is the blast finisher. Okay. If you, and a lot of you that are watching this from the RPG community are new to the game, so you probably don't really understand blast combos very much in the game. So blast combos are one of the most valuable in the game, okay? Blast in a fire field, you'll grant your teammates 3 stacks of might, which give you about, I would say, 5% or so damage buff. So you basically give your team 5% more damage. I might be off on that, but 3 stacks of might is a pretty big deal for a single skill. It's much more useful than just another skill on the skill bar, and it stays for a while. So that's one use. If you blast in a water field, it gives AoE healing. So you generate water fields with your healing turret. Okay, so you do a blast field. And bam, that's, I guess they changed it back in the day. Sorry, I've been playing engineer for a long time. This used to be, when this was going, this was always a blast field, but this only turns into a blast field once you activate it. Okay, so now, during that time period, then it becomes a blast field. My apologies there. But Yeah, I haven't played engineer in a while. So let's just, since it's on recharge, let's just go ahead and do it. Oh, I guess I did it too soon. Oh well, but you get what I'm trying to say is that this you can combo field your own, and I'm sorry for messing that up. I just haven't done, and I very rarely blast in water fields, so that's just me. If anything, if I want to provide more character or healing, I'll pop this, which gives regen, which very few people take for whatever reason. If I need to do healing for the party on top of healing turret, then I will take, I'll just use my F1. Which I'll get in the gadgets this video as well, because that's kind of changing because elites are all getting gadgets, but this is relatively staying the same. So I can cover gadgets in this video as well. So the next skill, or I just want to say, even though I don't play rifle anymore, I wanted to show off the skills. So this rifle has 1,000 range, which isn't a lot, tell you the truth. It's about here to past this line guard. I guess here to that tropical bird would be about 1,000 range. That is not a lot in comparison. I believe there is a trait to make it better, but I don't want to talk about traits because traits are changing so drastically in the Heart of Thorns release for the core game even. So I kind of don't want to focus on traits because they're in a weird spot. But this is your basic damage. It pierces up to 5 targets, 498 base damage, which isn't all that good for range, to tell you the truth. That's a weak skill in my mind, all right? But it's your auto attack skill. Probably the most damage you do on an auto attack that's not a kit. But next we have net, which is a quick recharge, 10-second recharge for 2.5 seconds of immobility. This is very useful, okay? Because immobilize works on champions, so you can't stun champions without going through their basically stacks. Champions are the enemies that have gold rings around them or above. I forget what they're called, or the mechanic though, where it gives them like every time you use a stun or something, it ticks down on a counter that's on their bar up top, on their health bar. I'm just forgetting what it's called though, but I know how it works. Basically, it gets around that. You can immobilize any elite, and it won't count towards that, but it's still a hard CC that works on an elite or any boss, unless it's immune for whatever reason. Some bosses are hard-coded for that. All right, so this is the main reason why people pick rifle over anything else. This bleed is pretty darn powerful. So basically it shoots out shrapnel. The closer you are, the more targets you bleed, or the more bleeds you apply to the target. So boom, and it does a cone of about this triangle here that I drew on the screen to apply the bleeds at very close range. That's its max. So 4 stacks of bleeding. Out to about here is the 3, 4, and I believe 5. So it's not. I guess it only goes to 500 range. So actually, I have my stack. So this would be about the full stacks. This would be about the 3. This would be about 4. This would be about 5. So somewhere in here. So it's not like super useful. This is a very good defensive skill. Doesn't really work. I wish it was a blast combo. Okay, then rifle would be my de facto choice for this. Okay, but basically this fires a knockback shot that knocks the target back and knocks you back. It's great for getting out of like mitrins and higher level fractals, her bombs and whatnot, or just getting out of things. But it doesn't work on bosses typically. because it eats into that stack that I was mentioning. You have to stun it, use like 6 stun skills in order to actually stun the things. So jump shot. This one's interesting, okay? And they've played with jump shot. It used to be you could jump like all the way over here with jump shot, but now they've shortened it. It does an AoE attack. So this is damage here. Boom. That's your typical combo with rifle. Jump, 4 shot or blunderbuss, and then 4 to knock them back. So that's your typical combo. It applies vulnerability. And it's a leap finish, but honestly, I find this whole trait. I find this to be lackluster compared to the conditions that a pistol can apply, especially since you're going to be using kits anyways. All right. So let me see how long this video has run. 11 minutes. I'll cover a few kits here. Okay. So I won't cover traits because, again, a lot of the things are becoming baseline in the game. Like your grenades your grenade kit, you're going to have 3 grenades regardless if you spec into it or not. So that's coming into the core aspects of the game. So I don't want to talk about traits, and I don't want to talk about a lot of the kits, but there's still a lot of kits that are staying the same. I use what's called Flamethrower build because I don't much care for grenades and condition damage. This is pretty much I mean, yes, it does burning, but burning scales from power anyways. From what I remember, and this is the highest damage that a engineer can do without a ground target. Okay, so grenades are on par with this damage, so don't get me wrong, grenades are probably stronger than this, but you, instead of doing this, which is just like this, I channel and I kite, you know what I mean? I'll just equip grenades real quick to show you the difference. I don't have this traded, so this is going to be, but boom. I have to press this twice to get out my skills. Alright. So, it's a lot more micro-intensive. And it's just not useful. It is useful. This is more damage than the flamethrower, okay? With 3 grenades, you can actually outdamage the flamethrower by quite a bit. But there's other things that I like about the flamethrower, particularly its gizmo, and a few other things. Because I play kind of a mixed Condi power build, which is conditioned power. And I feel like, poison, so what? And chill, so what? Blind's okay, shrapnel's okay, but they're changing around grenades too in the upcoming patch, so I don't want to really focus on grenades. They're nerfing one of the great things about grenades, which is range. They're getting rid of the huge range you could do. Instead, it actually looks like we're going to have a new elite skill in contention, which is the mortar kit, which right now sets up a stationary mortar, but the kit itself actually allows you to walk around with it in Heart of Thorns and set up more combo fields. Right now, though, the best thing you can do is supply crate. It's a blast finish. Remember how I could talk about that? Talked about that before. It's a blast finish, and boom, you get med kits. You get a flame turret. You get a healing turret, and you get a net turret. Not that much DPS, but it is good for supporting your team. And I believe if you spec the ability, you get a rifle turret in here too. But I don't. You mainly just use it for a blast finish, and it stuns targets. So that's generally what Ingies do. It also gives you a healing turret as well, so it's pretty darn useful as far as just different things in the game. So I like using supply kit or supply crate. Uh, another another few I like are the golems that you can use the with the Asuran line. Not that much DPS, but it actually gives a reflect on one of these. Whichever the defensive one is, gives you a reflect. You can't control the reflect, but it pops it like 3 times before it goes down. Misfire Wolf is always a good choice for just straight up DPS if you don't like whatever. Elixir X is changing, okay? So I don't want to talk about that, but they've pretty much said Elixir X is getting a base, like, way different functionality. And, oh yeah, the gadget for Elixir X is, it's going to change people in the MOAs. So it's going to become a hard CC as well. So that's kind of useful. Now, I want to talk about Elixir Gun, which is probably the most underutilized kit in the game. All right, so my typical rotation in my kit is, first, what I will do is I will apply the stacks of vulnerability. Okay, so I'll do this. I'll fumigate someone. I will typically apply do Elixir F, which balances between the target and my allies, applying swiftness and cripple, as well as doing damage. I will run up to the boss, do my elixir filled, then I will elixir gun the area for my Zerg, fumigate again, things are going, switch over to Flamethrower. Then I, well, typically, I do this before the battle. I napalm, and then, because it's a fire field, I flame burst in it and give my team might. Then I switch over. I auto attack. I napalm when I can. At the end of auto attack, okay, never during the middle. All right. Napalm is an activate skill. You have to do it twice. It's AOE. So it goes like, boom, boom. Oh yeah, and I'm continually granting myself might during this as well. Your other skills on Flamethrower is blind and air blast, but a lot of this is continuous damage. So again, I can switch to this, fumigate, you know, and then start my combo over again. Boom. You know, just whatever. And I just like this because right now the traits align, where this kind of combo, having a lot of long cooldown skills that you can swap between way different kits, really helps your team. And you notice there's no weapon recharge on these, pretty much. So I'm free to just do whatever. And you notice I switched kit while I was channeling Flamethrower, right? So there is that leeway, and of course I'm doing it on screen with this, but I typically cast my skills with my Razor Naga. So like switching kits is as easy as that on my mouse, which I wanted to click these to show you like what I'm clicking. I usually switch kits with that. So yeah, before we go, people will use Bomb Kit a lot because it gives a blast finish. I believe that in the next patch, when talents happen, we're going to have like 6 blast finishes anyways. So I'm not so sure that this is going to be necessary anymore, because every dodge is going to be a blast finish, and as well for engineer, and it's just going to be, we're going to have a crazy number of blast finishes. And when you activate a turret and destroy it, boom, that's a blast finish on a 20-second recharge. Okay? And I could still give regenerate to my allies. So I didn't really explain how gizmos work. So you have these different skills here, okay? Notice how I changed my third skill from the end here, and then my gizmo change, all right? Different skills give different gizmos. I keep Elixir B on because it grants might, retaliation, swiftness, and fury. I keep it for the fury, tell you the truth. But also, what I do is I can throw it. It grants my team stability, which is huge. Fury, might, retaliation, and swiftness. Well, I mean it gives one of them, but chances are it gives stability. All right, it just seems to pop stability whenever I need it, uh, and it's on a relatively quick cooldown for stability wise. Oh, but generally, what I roll with is as many kits as I can. A lot of people play turrets in PvP, but oh, and I've almost forgot the most important thing about this. Your kit damage does not scale with the level of weapon you have. It scales with the rarity of weapon you have. If you got one thing out of this, you can have a level 60 exotic, okay? It'll do the same damage as a level 80 exotic, except the power stats on it don't upscale, or, you know, whatever stats plus 128 power, 128 8 vitality, 179 condition. You know, like the power invites, you know, those numbers don't scale. But as far as the straight up damage, it will scale to 986 to 1205 if when you're wielding the kit, regardless of what level the weapon is. So it's always in your interest as engineer to be wielding at least a rare or an exotic while leveling up, even if it's like 20 levels below you. Keep that in a kit. It will update more damage every time you level. So while leveling, you abuse this. Get like a level 60 exotic or something when you're in your lower levels, and just, you know, boom, you got exotic damage, all right, even when you're in 80. But you know, like that's something that you can abuse pretty easily. So again, I think that's pretty much it for this one. I'll talk about skills, but this video has gone on long enough. For stat wise, leveling up, I would go condition. All right, and I know that's not a popular answer, but conditions while leveling up and while solo, which is what you're doing, you know, while you're leveling, are pretty much OP. All right, because you don't get full stacks on people, and they do massive damage to NPCs. Now it's a different story when you get to 80, and there are other. I would check out the guide on dolphy.com. Or is it .net? I'd forget. But just type in Dolphy Engineer, DULFY Engineer build, and read up on Endgame Engineer. But this is kind of just my introduction to Engineer and the skills. So a lot of CC, a lot of conditions, and a lot of blast finishers. That is Engineer in a nutshell. Each of their kits does something different. You know, generally they have some type of blast finish and or mobility inherent. But I like Elixir Gun for the mobility and Flamethrower for the damage. So I like Engineer as a class, but it is considered to be one of the subpar damage classes late in game, so I find myself playing my Guardian, my Warrior, my Elementalist more. But still, I find it to be a fun class and great for PvP, but just on the PvE side of things, I'd say they're okay. I don't mind going with Engineers. I really don't, but you know, they're not the meta, okay? They're okay, you know. So don't hate me. Don't, you know, I like playing Engineer. I love it. It was my first 80, but you know, I find myself playing other classes more because other classes inherently are more geared towards group mechanics, whereas Engineer are built for solo mechanics. So again, thank you for tuning in to this, and of course, stay tuned for my second episode of the Engineer Guide, where I'll be covering skills more in depth and what these are used for, as well as going over the changes, the announced changes to Engineer and what that means to the class. So, again, thank you for tuning in. And until we meet again, stay on target.